Now let's talk about the slope of horizontal and vertical lines. If a line is horizontal, like y equals y equals 4 in this case, then what we're looking at is a picture of a line where y is 4. We're going to say up here is 4, and it goes across like this. And so when we take a look at that, if we're thinking about the rise and the run, or the change in the y's compared to the change in the x, the change in the y's is going to be 0, because as we move along the line, the y stays the same. So if I pick a point over here and over here, they both have the same y value. So the top is 0. Now the bottom could actually be anything depending on which points along that line I choose. The point is it's going to be some change in x, which means then that we have 0 over a number other than 0, and that's going to be 0. So the slope of any horizontal line is 0. Now suppose we have a vertical line like number 7, and so we're looking at the graph where x is -3. We're going to say this is -3 over here. And so that line is going vertically through that point. And if we take a look at it, the change in the y's, depending on which points we pick, change in y there, suppose here and here, whatever that amount is. But what about the change in the x's? Well, we're not moving left or right, so there is no change there. That means the bottom will be 0. And when we divide by 0, we say that it is undefined. So that shows us then that we have all vertical lines are undefined in their slope. So the various types of lines that we've looked at, their slopes include positive, in which case as we move from left to right, the line is going up. Okay, always left to right on this. Negative, if we're moving left to right and the line is going down from left to right, that's going to be a negative slope. 0 slope, we just determined, is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, there is no change in that y value. So horizontal has 0 slope. Undefined slope is for all vertical lines. They all have undefined. So be careful about telling me that there is no slope. Some people interpret that 0 slope. Some people interpret it undefined. So be sure that if you mean 0, you tell me 0. If you mean undefined, say undefined. Okay. Let's look at one of the special forms of a line, the slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. This may be a familiar form to you. The reason we like it is that when we look at it, the m tells us the slope, and the b that you see tells us the y coordinate of the y-intercept. So that's the name, slope-intercept. We see the slope is m, the intercept is b. So 0b there. All right, so we're going to use that on numbers 8 and 9 here. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. Then we're going to use the slope and the y-intercept to graph the line. So first of all, we rewrite it into this form y equals mx plus b that we talked about up here. Okay, so again, right up here. So that means we want the y to be by itself. We want the x part and the b part over on the right side, if you will. So I'm going to work on number 8. I'm getting the 3y by itself first. So I'm going to move that 2x over or add it. So I'll have 2x minus 6 on the right. Then I'm going to divide each item, each term, by 3. When I do that, it simplifies so that I have y equals 2/3 x minus 2. Now that actually shows me that I have a slope. So for my graph that I'm going to do, my slope is 2/3, and my y-intercept, my point that I need here, is going to be the point 0, -2. All of that just from my equation. So 2/3, my slope, 0, -2, the point. Now I can use those two things to make the graph. So start with the point, 0, -2. And then from that point, I am going to use the slope to find the next point. When I look at m equals 2/3, that should make me think I'm going to go 2 up, because it's positive, and 3 right, again, because it's positive. So from my 0, 2, I'm going to go up 2, and then over 3 to the right. So here's my point, and then I can connect the 2 points to form my line. Pretty cool. Okay, let's look at number 9. Notice on this one, it's actually really completely backwards. I'm going to move my 2y, the -2y, to the left, and move my x over to the right, just to get those rearranged. So I have positive 2y equals -x plus 4. And then dividing each item by 2 to get the y by itself gives me y equals, now this is, remember, like a 1 up here with the x, so -1x, or I can write it as -1/2 times x plus 2. So now I can see that I have a slope of -1/2, and my intercept is the point 0, 2. Then I can use those to graph. So I have 0, 2 for my point. From there, I'm going to go down 1, right 2. The negative is with the 1, so I'm going to think of it as going down 1 and then right 2. So that puts me right here. And connect the points, make the line. Okay. So notice that we've made these two lines, and we have a definition. Linear equations of the form y equals mx plus b represent functions. And we said all lines except vertical lines are functions. So because we can say that they are functions, we can actually write them as f of x equals mx plus b. Notice that we're just replacing the y with f of x, just like we have done in previous functions. And then we say, well, these are linear functions because they are lines that are functions. Does that make sense? I hope so. I wish you could ask me questions like this. I would feel better. But that's it. That's the main idea at the moment for lines and linear equations that are functions. And we'll talk more about some of these things in another lesson.